Alright, so last video I covered what I believe to be some of the strongest decks for this event, and this video is just going to be more for the people who don't necessarily own a good dark water deck, a good light earth deck, or a good fire wind deck. So you're looking for other options like budget options, or for example we can look through the loaners and see which loaners are worth playing, at least which loaners are going to be the least painful to grind with if you're looking to try and get it through all the gems from this event without having an actual deck. So the dark water loaners, first of all, Marincess, don't play this build. I'm gonna say this right now, don't play this. You will never beat Blue Eyes with this Marincess Loaner deck. Marincess is a deck that relies heavily on non-engine and hand traps. Okay, in fact, half of every Marincess deck is just hand traps and non-engine. Okay, you can clearly see that that's not the case with this deck. This deck instead runs bad Cyber's names and bad Marincess names, and 3 copies of Dive and 3 copies of Battle Ocean. That's way too much. And Silent Mining when you already have 15 1-card starters. No, this is not how you build Marincess. The fact is that most of these cards in here, the majority of the cards in here are also super rare and lower, so you can actually just build a better deck yourself for free without any UR resources. The only thing you would be missing would be Arco Argonaut and Chrono Triangle, which, you know, admittedly would be nice to have, but it's not worth playing a shitty build of Marincess in order to have access to these. Okay, it's better to just build a better, more suitable Marincess deck for the meta you expect to face, which is going to be a lot of Blue Eyes, than it is to play this deck. So yeah, we can maybe get to that later. Hint, hint, wink, wink. But this, I don't recommend this. Okay. Next, we have Sharks. So Sharks, I also don't think Sharks is really maybe that great. In fact, in general, these options for the Fire and Dark decks, or Fire and Dark, the Water and Dark decks in general, the Loaner decks, you're gonna have a problem playing against Blue Eyes. Going second, there's like very little things you can do, because a well-played Blue Eyes Primite deck is just gonna win majority of the time. You have barely any non-engine in any of these decks. Like, as you can see, they only give you like 5 hand traps each. Three of them being Perulia, which if Perulia gets ashed, well, then it's basically over. You might as well go next. And like they at least give you Dominus Impulse for the Shark deck, which is fine. If you go first, you might be able to do well with this deck. I mean, this deck is very simple. Again, these are just all level 4 water monsters that when they summon, you know, Buzzsaw Shark summons a water monster from deck. Serving Big Draws is a custom card. This card is actually insane. If you activate a spell this turn, you can special summon this, and then this searches any fish monster. So you can, like, let's say you activate 7th Ascension to get 7 Tachyon. Why the hell do they only give you 7 Tachyon? Why are they cheaping out on the Loaner deck? Like, come on, man. Like, this is like the Rhoda of the deck. Why would you? Okay, whatever. So, anyways, you activate any of these, you can special summon this for free. No, you don't have the special summon. You can just normal summon this as a normal starter. That's fine too. But like, it's like ideal if you can just special summon this, then like add Buzzsaw Shark, normal Buzzsaw Shark effect, get something else, and then like you can also use 7 Tachyons and like 7th Ascension, which searches 7 Tachyons to get Abyss Shark. You can get where's the Hydro? Oh yeah, you can get the Hydrojet, which Hydrojet you can special itself, and then you can banish this card from the graveyard, which you can, after you detach for an Exceeds material, you can then search an Aquajet Surface, and Aquajet Surface is a monster reborn, so you can just keep going for days. You can end on like 3-4 Exceeds. With the Armored Exceeds package, you can end on Nash Knight, so you get a suck on your opponent. You have full armored Dark Knight with full armored Exceeds engraved, so you have another suck, so you got 2, you get to suck your opponent twice, and then you have a Bahamut Shark. Where's the Bahamut Shark? Is there no Bahamut Shark? Oh god. I was about to, like, I was hyping this deck up so much, I assumed, like, what? Why would you not play a Bahamut Shark for the fucking... Lavirtue Dragon is so much harder to make if you don't have Bahamut Shark. What? This is... The idea is you special summon this, you get the Search Virtue Stream, which is the Icarus attack, and then Lavirtue Dragon can also detach a material, the second material off the Bahamut Shark, to add another extender back from your grave that you used to make the Bahamut Shark, so you can use it again, and then you can, like... What the fuck? Where the fuck is the Bahamut shark? Konami, what is... Okay, whatever, this is... Hey man, if you're a shark fan, you can play this, it's fine. If you can go first, you might be able to win a few games. Might not be the best to grind out the entire event with, depending on how much blue eyes you face, but at least it's... At least like they give you a lot of URs to play for this. Like, at least you can't make a better deck than this for free with like free resources and no URs like you could with the Marincess deck. So yeah, and then Phantom Knight, PK, PK Fire, Seer, target Dante. Is there? Wait, there's no Dante. Oh yeah, Dante's a light. That's funny. That's funny. BAs without Dante. Okay, whatever. I think the Shark deck is better than this. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. This also struggles to go second versus Blue Eyes, but I guess it has an OTK option with Reliant XDs, and you can like go Cherubini, Luigi Cherubini into Rusty Bardies to set one. Why is there only one Fog Blade? What? You're missing so much interruption. What? We're running so many Phantom Knight names, but you're only running one Fog Blade? What the hell, Konami? Okay, run rank up. Yeah, sure, whatever. Like, it's going to something. Going to a Brilliant Exceeds Dragon on your opponent's turn. Going to negate everything on the field. Yada yada. It's pretty nice. I got IP into SP. At least they have that. They gave the courtesy to have that. Sure. I would say if you're a fan of these decks, like if you're a fan of Sharks and if you're a fan of Phantom Knight, and you for some reason don't actually own the cards yourself, because I swear you could, if you actually own Bardies and you own like Cherubini, you could 100% build a better Phantom Knight deck yourself than this. Like what the hell is this build, Konami? Whatever. So yeah, and Shark is probably the most reasonable because Shark is in the new selection pack. So if you're a Shark fan but you're not lucky enough to actually pull all the Shark cards from the selection pack, then you can play this first. You know, see if you like the deck. See if you want to dismantle the Shark cards or not, and yeah, you might have some fun with it. Just don't expect to beat Blue Eyes Black going second. So that's it for the Dark and Water Loaners. Jesus Christ. Anyways, on to the Light and Earth Loaners. So the Light and Earth Loaners. There is an advantage in playing the Light and Earth Loaners, and that is that if the event works properly, you should not be playing against other Light and Earth decks, which means that you should not be queuing up against other Blue Eyes and other. You should not be queuing up against Blue Eye Prime-Ice decks, which I believe is to be the best deck of this format, and it's probably going to be by far the most played. So that's an advantage right there, that you don't have to queue up against the best deck in this event. That being said, if the event breaks again, which it's very likely that the matchmaking will break for the Duo Triangle event, because the matchmaking has broken for like every fucking Duo Triangle event that's like ever happened in Master Duel. And if like 80% of the player base is playing Blue Eyes and you just end up queuing against Blue Eyes anyways, even though you're in the Light and Earth group, then we might have an issue here. Yeah, that's well, we won't know if this event will break until it actually happens, so it's no use speculating on that right now. Just looking at the decks here, so I think Zoodiac is actually the best one. Assuming you don't play against Blue Eyes, obviously, then it might be an issue. Now, the problem with this is that there's too many fucking Zoo names, okay? An average Zoodiac deck plays about a third as many Zoo names as what's in here right now. Here, you're gonna clog like hell on Zoo names. Like, multiple normal summons, like, you can only normal summon once a turn. Like, opening Broad Thoroughblade is okay, but you're just gonna Thoroughblade, dump a Zoo name, and then draw another Zoo name in all likelihood, so like, that wouldn't really help you there. You have Tensu to alleviate the Zoodiac clog problem, but that just leads to more problems where if you don't open Tensu, then you're just gonna have a bunch of Zoodiac monsters stuck in your hand instead of non-engine. And then if you draw multiple Tensu or multiple Tenki's fine, but if you draw multiple Tensu, that's also useless because you only get the normal summon effect once. So, not a fan of the deck building, but this deck is like one of the more competent loaner decks because it is a one-card combo deck, quote-unquote combo. The combo is normal summon a Zoo monster, go into Trident. Okay, that's the combo. Okay, that's fair and simple, and they even provide you a Zeus, so you can go Zeus Turbo, you can go Vespacito, Vespinato. They even give you Utopia the Lightning. man, if you're in a position where you can actually make it hard, make a rank 4 that's not a zoo monster, like you're probably way ahead anyways. 3 Alpha, the Master Beast was actually a pretty nice card going second. Except it's not nice in the Drill Beam or Majesty, but it's against other decks in the other groups, it might do something. And then they gave you 3 Imperm, but this deck could really do with more hand traps. This is the thing, okay? Light and Earth has access to like the most hand traps out of all the groups. Like they have Valor, Ogre, Nibiru, all of that shit. They didn't give Zoo any of that. They just gave Zoo 3 Imperm. That's it. That's the big issue I have with this build. But yeah, I mean, this is very simple. Like, if you don't know how to play any loner decks, you just pick up this one. This is the easiest loner deck to play. Like it might be a bit more complicated to try to like go for lethal lines, or like there's like a bit more intricacy if you want to like maximize your like Zoodiac stacks and stuff like that. But if you don't want to try hard, like this is literally so simple. Just normal summon, make Dryden, or normal summon, make Borbol, attack directly, make Zeus. That's it. Like, it's very simple, it's very straightforward, it's effective, it will get the job done, especially if you don't play against other Light and Earth decks. Next is Heroic. I think this deck is fucking trash, bro. What is the win con of this deck? Is it just make big dudes and attack directly, or an attack? Like, I guess that could work, but that's like, you're working on 3-card combos here, where you're trying to make rank 4s, and then you're also trying to combine it with like something like a Stoic Challenge or a Phoenix Gearblade as an equip card, or like a Magnum Shield or a Big Bang Shot. So it's like you need a monster, you need 2 monsters to go into Exceeds, and then a requisite equip spell in order to actually deal a threatening amount of damage. But then also you're gonna need board breakers, because that strategy only works going second, and this deck doesn't. Does this deck do shit going first? Like, it's funny, they gave you Isolda. This is the one time where Isolda is like completely fine, because what the hell does Isolda do in this situation? Clav Solage. Well, what does this do? Your opponent cannot target monsters for attack for this one. So I start a battle phase. Oh, that battle phase attack. Oh, when an attack is good, I can. Man, already bangers. Battle phase attacks. Does anyone like? Does any? I'm sure Heroic Champion, there's going to be at least one Heroic Challenger player in my actual like comments that actually knows what this deck is supposed to do. But this doesn't seem like the proper way to build it. It seems like the only end board piece you have is Gandiva. It's like this deck you kind of have to go blind second with. But if you're going blind second, this is not enough non-engine to actually survive being able to go blind second. Like, what, 1 Duster, 1 Storm, 3 Droplet, 3 Imperm, that's it? And then you're trying to draw like a 4-card combo to deal lethal damage? I don't know about that, Chief. I would say probably just play the Zoo one over this one. And the third Earth and Light Loaner is ABCs, which this looks fine. There doesn't seem anything too egregiously wrong. That being said, I'm not the most experienced ABC player. All I see is a lack of hand traps in a deck that it's a 2-card combo deck that might struggle going second. Frontline base, you can wow, this is so minus. It should be okay. If you go first, I can see a row where you win, especially if you set up like ABC Dragon Buster and XYZ Hyper Dragon Cannon, A to Z Dragon. Okay, you're probably not setting up this. This is definitely. I don't know in what situation you can make this of a loner, but yeah, read over the cards. See if you like saying ABC. Again, here's the thing: is that I feel like everybody that knows how to play this deck probably already owns this deck. Because I mean, why would you? Who would take time to learn the intricacies of like how to combo with ABC optimally if you don't even plan to own the deck? But so ABC players, I'm sure, tell me everything that's wrong with this build, because I've seen the previous loaners. We've all seen previous loaners. There are egregious things wrong with the previous loaners. So like, tell me what did Konami fuck up this time? I'm sure this will work. Again, because you're in the Light Earth group, you're probably not going to be playing against as much Blue Eyes, if at all. So this is probably going to be fine for the most part. I feel like the most consistent one is going to be Zoodiac, just because it's the. I mean, you can't. It's hard to fuck up Zoodiac. Okay, it's really hard to fuck up normal summon a Zoo name, make Dryden, make Zeus. Okay, like this. Platinum Gadget, Silver Gadget, Z Metal Tank, Y Dragon Head, X. God, you're playing these cards too? This is one A Solid Core standard? This seems a bit weird, but yeah, you got White Women, Raw 10s, Saryuja to unbrick yourself, I guess. Yeah, Loaners. I guess it's acceptable. Only because you're playing in this specific group. That's the main goal of these Loaners. If you're gonna play a Loaner deck, I'm leaning towards the Light and Earth one so far. And the Fire and Wind Loaners, so the Fire and Wind Loaners actually I think are some of the highest. I think these are probably the best Loaners out of all of the Loaner decks so far. The only like sad part is that you're gonna be playing so many Blue Eyes, and I'm not sure how consistently you'll be able to beat Blue Eyes with these, but I mean, look at this. This is so much better. This looks so much better than anything in the past of the two groups. Like, clearly Konami knows how to build a properly functioning, coherent deck. Like, this is 9 non-engine slots. You have OTKs, blind second. Like, you have Fualas. Like, this is so good. This is so much better than the other Loaners. Where was did the same person build the Loaners for all three groups, or like were different people building the Loaners or something? What's going on? This looks confident. This looks so good. Slower swallow. sorry. Yeah. So Lyrilusc, this is simple. I think you want to go second with this deck because, frankly, I don't think Ensemble Robin Pass is gonna cut it. But yeah, going second, you have Fualas, you have Droplets, you have a Symbol Nightingale to attack directly. I'm not sure how easy it is to OTK, to be honest, because there's one annoying thing is that you don't have Zeus, so that's a bit annoying. But they give you 3 Recital Starling. But yes, that's how you pronounce it for all MBT viewers, Recital Starling. So yeah, this looks fine. Maybe you can. I'm not sure how realistic it is to OTK going second, because you probably need to stack multiple rank 1 exceeds into a board. So maybe going first on like Ensemble Robin, you can make like double Ensembles, maybe, I think. And this isn't the hard ones per turn. So if you have like double Ensemble Robin plus like maybe a non-engine like Droplet or Infirm, might be good enough to get you there. Although still, then their Fualas is dead. So like even though this is funny enough, Fualas is a winged beast. So like in case you're wondering, Fualas you contribute with Swallow's Nest and Swallow's Cowrie if you're playing going first. I think it still might be better. I think it's still better to just use the Fualas as a hand trap. So like, just probably going second is probably the play. Don't know how consistently this can beat Blue Eyes, but Damnbot has a better chance than any of the fucking dark water decks for winning against Blue Eyes going second. So yeah, this is a good deck. This is the best Loaner I've seen so far. And then next is Majespecter. Majespecter is also a very nicely built deck. It's just that this definitely cannot go second. 100%. All you have is Fualas and Ash. Ash, if you high roll and you fucking Ash the wishes and that's all they have, maybe you can get there. But Fualas is not enough. It's like at most 2 draws. Sometimes they don't even give you any draws. They just pass on Drill Beam on the Primite, which this deck cannot beat Drill Beam Pass. But going first, you set up. Basically, you go into Majespecter Orpheus. You go through all your Majespecter names. You end on like a Majespecter Kirin plus 2 to 3 Majespecter Spell and Traps, which is like this pops, this negates a summon. Wait, when a monster would be special summon or monster effect. Yeah, this is a monster negate. So like you have 3 ways to remove monsters. So if your combo resolves, you actually have a pretty good chance of winning, especially with the Kirin bounce as well, and then you just accumulate advantage through like Magister Paladin and Majespecter Ryu. The hard part is resolving this combo because the light, because you're the Fire and Wind deck, you're in the Fire and Wind group, but when you play against the light and Earth group, they have a shit ton of hand traps. Okay, they have Veilers, they have Imperms, they have Dominus Purge, they have like Ogres, even. All of those cards screw you. So like, this may not be that consistent, because like this deck is really weak in the hand traps, which you might be wondering, what do you mean? Your opponent can't target any of your Majespecter monsters. Well, they can target one monster, which is this one, because this for some reason does not have the targeting protection. So this is massive Imperm bait. This is massive Veiler bait. This you also probably died in Nibiru pretty handily. And also, like, it doesn't matter if like you can't target them because Dominus Purge doesn't target, so you kind of just die to every hand trap the Light and Earth decks run. Okay, maybe this isn't that great. Like, it's consistent if you don't get interrupted, but I feel like that's not super likely. Still better than the fucking whatever the hell was the Light and Earth Loaners. But yeah, then Salamangreat. So this one's actually pretty good. This one is like 60% of a good Salad deck, and then you have like 40% just random like dumbass cards. Like you have Fusion of Fire plus Rituals. Like, you're playing Rituals in a Salad deck. Like, come on, man. Like, this stuff is like rarely gonna go off. This isn't even that good. Like, once per turn, this card at the start of damage says this card battle destroy that opponent's monster. Oh man, more battle phase effects. Hell yeah! Like in 2025, that's so good. That's so good to resolve. And Salamangreat Tiger was the only payoff being Burst Griffin. So good, man. I'm glad we're making use of the tuners. So even though this deck gives you a lot of URs to play with, like they gave you 3 Salad of Fire and 3 Cold of Soul, which is like honestly pretty generous of them for a loaner deck. The payoff is like Promethean Princess plus a Pyro Phoenix nuke, if you get that far. That's something you don't get hand trapped in hell, which I have a high chance of that happening. But I mean, this definitely sets up the best end board out of like the other loaners so far. And yeah, the thing is that I feel like you can still, even on a budget, I feel like a budget Salamangreat deck might be more competent than this, especially if you own like Promethean Princess. If you own a Promethean Princess, 100% I think you can build a better Salad deck even without other URs. If you don't own a Promethean, if you don't for some reason don't own a Promethean Princess, then you can give this deck first spin. This is actually pretty decent. Again, still struggles going second. Not enough non-engine. You're never gonna win against a real Blue Eyes board. So that's the issue with all these loaners decks, is that you kind of just have to win the coin flip and go first. Which, you know, it's to be expected. You know, you're playing a free deck that you're not spending any resources to build. So it is what it is. But yeah, this deck looks fairly consistent. Can fairly consistently end on Princess Engrave, a search spell, a search Salad spell and trap, and then a Pyro Phoenix with a Cold of Soul. So for like a double relink for a board nuke, so you have like double board wipe plus Princess. Like that's fine. That's decent. That's actually way better than all the other loaners. So yeah, if you want to play a non Light Earth group loaner deck, then I'd go for a Salamangreat or the Lyrilusc one. These are probably, the Lyrilusc one is like gives you the best chance to win going second. Even though I don't think it's too great of a win rate going second, it is by far the best loaner at going second. So yeah, those are my opinion on all the loaners. So some are way better than others, and if you watch this video, if you watched up to now, you'll know which ones are the better ones. So I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is, and guarantee that this Marincess build is going to be way better for this event and give you a way better win rate than whatever the hell this loaner is. Okay, this loaner, it has Coral Triangle and Marincess Aqua Argonaut, and the deck I showed you does not have them just because it's the budget build. And I guarantee you you'll do much better with this Marincess build than you will with the loaner one. And yeah, as always with these budget videos, I'm showing you the least amount of URs needed, which is usually 0, and the only URs I typically show are ones that are either from a structure deck or are free that the game gives you, or they're from like a bundle, which every account should buy out the bundles anyway because they're just good deals. So like for example, here we have Infirm. That being said, if you have other access to better URs, play them. So like for example, Coral Triangle and Aqua Argonaut, which I realized because they're not in selection packs, they're kind of weird to get. You're never gonna pull these, so like you have to kind of craft them, which is, you know, if you're not a Marincess player, you probably don't have these, but that's fine. These are not necessary. This searches Marincess Wave and it's a soul charge for follow up, while this is a spell and trap negate. But trust me, you can do fine without these. Zealanthus is honestly more important, so if you've played Snake Eyes and you own a Zealanthus, then obviously put a Zealanthus in here. I feel like more people will own a Zealanthus than they will own Aqua Argonaut or Coral Triangle. So yeah, Zealanthus is obviously very good. In case you didn't know, Zealanthus, when it banishes everything and special summons it back, if you're waterlocked, you don't special summon anything back but water monsters, because you're not allowed to special summon anything but water monsters, which means that everything that gets banished stays banished forever, and you're always going to play against non-water decks just because that's just how the event works. So the Atlantis is always a complete board wipe banish, which is very good. So you don't obviously as I mentioned, you actually don't need this to win either. It is nice though. This is probably the best extra deck you are. And of course, if you have Called by the Grave and like more copies of like Imperm and Dominus Impulse, I recommend running them as well. These aren't mandatory because like I've combed through the possible non-engine options that you can run to be anti-Blue Eyes, and there's plenty of options even if you don't own these. If you don't have 3 Imperm or Dominus Impulse, but especially Dominus Impulse is pretty funny because we're also playing Typhoon. So Typhoon is one of the specific non-engine slots I'm including here to be anti-Blue Eyes, because if your opponent controls 2 or more spell and traps, and you control no spell and traps, you can activate this card from your hand. So Blue Eyes has a lot of spell and traps, like continuous spell and traps. Let's say they have anywhere from like Lordly Load plus the field spell, Mausoleum, plus True Light. They can easily have 2 of those on the field at the same time, and you can Typhoon one of them on turn 0. So like, let's say they have the field spell plus True Light, they go to activate True Light, you can Typhoon the True Light on their turns, as sort of like an Ogre. Even though Ogre is banned from this group because it's a light monster, you have Ogre at home in Typhoon. Also, you can hit like the Lordly Load, you can hit the if they open Lordly Load, then they're gonna have a Lordly Load face up plus a Mausoleum, and then you can hit the Mausoleum with the Typhoon as well. And then that synergizes with Dominus Impulse, because that's just 3 more trap cards that you can activate that put themselves into the grave before you use Impulse. So then Impulse gets the Destroy effect as well. So yeah, that's nice. But anyway, the main part of this is that the Marincess part is like honestly is like the uninteresting part. The Marincess cards could literally be, honestly, you could probably play anything you want. The main thing I want to focus on is the non-engine and how these are the specific choices I chose to basically combat Blue Eyes. This is specifically to be an anti-Blue Eyes build, because I'm expecting that to be your most common matchup by far. So if you just have a competent deck into Blue Eyes, you should be able to do fine. So the options then are like Psycho Reader, double banish light monsters. You know, pretty obviously why that would be good against Blue Eyes, especially since Maiden of White is limited. So if you get rid of one Maiden, they lose it for the entire duel, so that's good. Then you have like Crow and Skullmeister. I chose these over Bystials. Again, if you have the Imperms and Dominus Impulse, I would actually play them over the Bystials, because the Bystials, there's the issue where if you're not playing Blue Eyes, these cards are literally just dead. Like, you literally cannot even activate them or use them against a deck that's Earth, Wind, or Fire. And as for the Crow and Skullmeister, why these are better than Bystials, obviously, besides being able to hit non-Blue Eyes and non-Light decks, they can also hit spell and traps. So, for example, Drill Beam, whenever it goes to reset yourself, you can hit the Drill Beam with DD Crow or Skullmeister, so that you don't have to deal with the Drill Beam on your turn. You can hit the the Wishes Engrave effect, so like before they activate it, or like you can Skullmeister the Wishes to where then they can't equip the Tyrant Dragon, they can't equip the Neo Blue Eyes to their Blue Eyes, then they can't go into Tyrant Dragon, because Tyrant Dragon is hella annoying in a grind game. So if you can cut them off of their one Wishes, because Wishes is limited for the light group, then they can never go into Tyrant for the rest of the duel, so that's also something to consider. And yeah, there's also the Primite Effort Barrel, where you can control the Effort Barrel, because Effort Barrel is a light monster, is a Earth monster, so cards like Bystials and even Psycho Reader cannot hit the Effort Barrel coming back every turn for follow-up, but you can Crow and Skullmeister the Effort Barrel too. So that's why these are here. They're nice SRs options. And then Triple Twin Twister, because the bread and butter of like this Blue Eyes end board are the spell traps between Drill Beam and Majesties and like a possible True Light and other non-engine like a Lordly Load. You will always hit 2 things of value with Twin Twister. So like that's nice. It's like 3 extra copies of Typhoon. So like between these, hopefully you can deal with their back row, because their back row is what can end your turn. And then yeah, that's like the non-engine, like 2 more Bystials, just because these are the SR options. So if you don't have the Imperm and the Impulses, these are the more budget options. But yeah, this is like 18 non-engine slots. versus Blue Eyes. So you have more non-engine than Blue Eyes has engine in this format. So hopefully you will be able to get on top of get the advantage in duels just because of your sheer number of non-engine that's targeted at Blue Eyes. And you should be able to, I think, whether going first or second, I think you should have a fine matchup into Blue Eyes. No worse than 50-50, I think. And you know, for a deck that basically costs 0 URs versus Blue Eyes, versus a deck that has like what 40 URs or whatever, I think that's fine. You know, and then the Marincess cards, like 3 Blue Tank, 3 Pascalis, 3 Spring Girl, 3 Aqua Angel. This reveals your opponent's hand if you link it off. So like, for example, if you use this early and you see your opponent has some Nibiru, you can try to bail out the Nibiru early by like going Crystal Heart in the EMZ and then linking off the Crystal Heart, and then your opponent has to like Nibiru on the Crystal Heart. So at the very least, you don't lose too many extenders. I guess this deck doesn't really play around Nibiru that well. That's like probably the one issue with playing Marincess. So if you're forcing Blue Eyes players on Nibiru, it can get really annoying. And yeah, basically every single one of these Marincess monsters leads to, at minimum, a Link 4 Great Bubble Reef. Most of the time, the end board that you're going to go for most often is just going to be Bubble Reef made with a Marincess Crystal Heart with a Battle Ocean on the field. So you have a unaffected Towers Marincess Great Bubble Reef that has like over like 5k attack usually, and then you just draw and try and draw into your non-engine, and to have your non-engine do the bulk of the work. And the one Bastion Lima, so this is an additional thing you can dump off the MBT. This basically just, it gives you a branded opening protection. All your monsters, when your monster you control would be destroyed, you can just banish this from the graveyard instead. So this is good for playing around Majesty, for example. Because like normally getting your normal summon removed in Marincess kind of hurts, especially getting 2 monsters removed. Like if you go Pascalis into Blue Tang and they both get removed, you still can't play the game unless you have specifically Spring Girl. But Bastion Lima can help you play around Majesty, so it's an alright inclusion. I think it's okay. It might come up. Worst case scenario, it's just another normal summon that converts to a Link 4 in the extra deck. So this doesn't matter. You're probably never in a position to make a rank 4, nor would that be even the right play. I just put this in here because it's a royal, and like you have a lot of extra slots, especially if you don't own the Marincess URs. Then 2 Blue Slug, 2 Sea Angel, 2 Coral Anemone, Crystal Heart, Splash Mage, area, specifically to link off, like, for example, if you get Nibiru or you have a Bichu on the field chilling, you can link it off into the area, because this is the only one that doesn't require 2 water monsters to make. And then Haggard Lizardos, I guess is the other one. Haggard Lizardos, if you have Coral Triangle, Haggard Lizardos is a way to play around Nibiru. Obviously, if you don't have this, then Haggard Lizardos doesn't even really come up that often, so like this isn't really needed. Double Marbled Rock, because 2 Link 3s, because if you don't have this, then this is your only Link 3 option available. And then 2 Bubble Reef, because again, if you don't have Aqua Argonaut, this is the only real Link 4 option that's available. But yeah, Marincess, I'm sure, I guarantee this is way better than whatever the hell the Loaner is gonna do in this event. So next, the budget option for the Light and Earth group. I think this deck is actually quite interesting, since I do a budget video for like basically every event, so I've done a lot of these, and what I've noticed is that when it comes to budget options, it's usually you only really have one of like 2 options. One is either something from a structure deck, which is admittedly pretty cheap, but then it's like you're limited on what you can actually play and like what the options actually are, especially since only 1 or maybe 2 budget or 2 structure decks ever are even legal for an event. And the second type of deck is usually just some kind of cheesy OTK, or like some cheesy deck that's super cheap and like plays a lot of NRs, but like in general is not very, it's not a very good deck. It's just kind of jank. It's funny, you know, like Spider OTK or like Sue Ship OTK or like stuff like that, but like generally they're not very reliable, and you end up scooping a lot of games because they don't end up working too well. And then okay, I guess there's a third type, and the third type is Marincess, as we've already covered that. But this deck is unique in that it is a combo-like deck. It's like a coherent strategy, like a real strategy with a lot of budget options available. Because this is a deck centered around Block Dragon, obviously, if you couldn't tell, and Block Dragon is basically just generic Earth support. And because of that, the pool of available cards you can use is literally just every single Earth and Rock monster in the entire game. So because of that, you have a lot of budget alternatives that you can use to work with Block Dragon, because Block Dragon can just band-aid fix all of the issues of any Earth deck. And yeah, you have something like this, where this is the cheap and budget option that I actually was able to find 40 relevant cards that you can actually use to fill out the deck, and this looks like an actual well-constructed deck. It doesn't just like doesn't look like a mishmash of just random cards that you have to cheap out on because you don't have all the URs. But that being said, this deck would be significantly improved if you have like certain URs. So I'm gonna go over them right now, and you don't have to have the URs to make this deck good, or to make this deck work, but there are so many options you can use with Block Dragon that I feel like the majority of people will have at least one or a couple UR options to boost this deck even further. Just because Block Dragon being generic Earth Sport and all, you have access to every single Earth monster and potential light monsters in the extra deck for payoffs that I'm sure that even if you don't explicitly have a Block Dragon deck or explicitly play Light and Earth decks, you still have some kind of random one of the random options that I'm going to show you that you can put in this deck that you boost even further. So like obviously we have, like, if you have more copies of hand traps, that's obviously the thing. Like the Valor, Bell, Ogre, Tactics, Droplet, Imprint, these are all from the bundle. So if you have multiple copies of these cards, oh yeah, and the Bureau as well, if you have multiple copies of these cards beyond just the one copy you get from the bundle for free, then feel free to play more of these certain hand traps. But like this is the Light and Earth group, so you have a lot of options available. So even though you're only playing one of hand traps from the bundles, you still have a decent amount of hand traps, just because there's so many of them that are legal for this specific group. But yeah, for the UR options, like there's a lot of cool things you can do with this deck if you happen to have the URs for them. For example, grass is legal, and snow is legal. So you already know, man. If you're a tier player and you own these cards, man, you already know what these can do here. Also, the Vernisylph, I have 3 Vernisylphs in here, but the best Vernisylph is Vernisylph of the Flourishing Tales, which is a UR obviously, but you don't need this, but it is another Vernisylph name you can add. For the Millennium Engine, if you have access to Sang Engine, you play the Millennium Engine. That way, either Golem or Sang Engine gets you to Curious, which Curious can then be used to dump Block Dragon or dump whatever the hell you want. It can dump a Snow if you want as well. It can dump a Shuffler or whatever you want to. You can just get the Curious off one Sang Engine or one Golem. So that's if you have the Millennium Engine, feel free to play that here. You can use Naturia Singers, specifically Naturia Beast. And Naturia Beast is really easy to make because you have the level 2 tuners with the Adamantimators plus their level 3 Vernisylphs. And there it is. There's your Naturia Beast. And Naturia Beast is, I heard, a very good card. You have other rank 4 XDs options, there's like Cyanonite. You can actually go Fiendsmith in this deck if you want to, although I wouldn't recommend it with the Vernisylphs. Yeah, you would have to change the build up a lot, so never mind that. But Dryden's into Zeus, because these are Earth, so you can go rank 4 into Chalkonite, into Borbor with Thread and Zeus, also have a Dryden available. You can use Scylla Hat Rabbit with Adrian Statue, because it's a light, so that's neat. Mind you that you have to make if you make Scylla Hat Rabbit, you have to make it before you use the Vernisylphs, because the Vernisylphs lock you into Earth effects. So make this first if you can, and then get the Adrian Statue, and then use your Vernisylphs from there. You can Griffin lock your opponent. Griffin is a light monster. You have infinite link material with Block Dragon, so like you can definitely achieve a Griffin lock pretty decently. You can have like a Griffin lock plus Nat Beast a lot of times too, which no deck's beating that. Foolish Burial, obviously Foolish Burial is good. Foolish Burial dumb Block Dragon, and then Called Bys and Dominus Purge. This deck can seamlessly run Dominus Purge as well as another hand trap. It's not a monster, so it's not as synergistic because the Vernisylphs have to discard monsters. So you can discard hand traps for the Vernisylph effects, but you can't discard Dominus Purge. But I mean, Dominus Purge is still probably the best hand trap for this group. But yeah, these are additional options that will help improve the deck even further. But this is still a decently competent deck by now for, basically no URs. But yeah, you have the Adamantimators. You already know Adamantimators. Hit Clocky Mirror Guardian. You add them off of Block Dragon. Simple. Gigantes is a add-off Block Dragon as well as free special summon. The Vernisylphs So the Vernacells, they Earth lock you, but you basically discard a card, you discard a monster, and then they can reborn an Earth monster from your graveyard. So a lot of extension. This is how you play through like this is how this deck becomes not normal summoner line. So that your normal summon getting nuked doesn't end your turn, you can just Vernacells and continue extending from there, and they have additional effects. So this is the worst one that usually, if you have the UR Vernacells, you don't play this, but this, if you discard a monster, this basically lets you draw a card. Yeah, this is the one that draws a card, so it's the least impactful one. Vernacells of the Misting Ceiling lets you Foolish a. This can discard this card. You can add one Earth Fairy monster deck to your hand. So this Vernacells of the Misting Ceilings can add a Earth Fairy monster. It can add another Vernacells to your hand. So you can add like a Vernacells of the Awakening or another Vernacells name, so that you can keep extending it from there. So you can add another monster reborn and then another beneficial effect. You can also add Medora to discard Medora, and then you get the Medora in the grave as a shuffler too. So yeah, but shufflers are pretty good this format. Vernacells of the Awakening Forest. This is probably the best effect out of all the SR and below Vernacells. This one basically sends a Earth monster to your graveyard. It foolishes an Earth monster, and you have obviously foolishing an Earth monster. You know you have plenty of options here. You got the block drag, and you can send the Medora. You can send the Revival Golem if you already have block access and get a free body. You can send Taka Crusader, which Taka Crusader is great because if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can either Book of Moon a monster or return a spell trap to hand, both of which are good effects, and you can abuse the hell out of Taka Crusader. You can Taka Crusader, you can attach it to a rank 4 and then get an additional use out of it as well. So yeah, Taka Crusader is nice, great send off of Vernacells, and obviously Rock Band Xeno Guitar is another send, because if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a rock monster in the graveyard and then add it to your hand and then place a card from your hand on top of your deck, which is whatever you usually use this to add back a rock monster. You can add back a Emancipator, for example, that you milled or discarded earlier. And if this card is banished, you can send a rock monster from your deck to your graveyard. So if this gets banished by, like, say, a Gigantes, you can send the Block Dragon, or more likely the case is that you banish the Rock Band Xeno Guitar with the Block Dragon, then you can send something like Taka Crusader or Revival Golem to get another body or another disruption, but also to fill out your graveyard with more Earth monsters. You can, and then so on and so forth. And then you have the Clockamiru's Guardians, 3 Guardian, 2 Supplier, just for additional, so that you can sometimes hit off an Emancipator name, which you don't have to with this build, because you have so many extenders. You don't have to hit off of your Emancipator Exavates in order to full combo, but definitely if you can hit off these, it definitely helps. So yeah, and then the extra deck. So this is the budget extra deck. And what basically you're trying to go for with this is to get a Herald of the Arclight, and then potentially a Tri-Gate Wizard, triple culling Tri-Gate Wizard, which is for like a completely budget ass deck with no URs. That's like a pretty decent game plan. You also have, I also include stuff like Lambda for in case you draw Gamma going first. You obviously the Gallant Granite can add the Block Dragon, but if you have access to Block Dragon, you can Gallant Granite add a Nibiru, so that you also have to force your opponent to play through a Nibiru as well. So it's pretty neat. And then Raw 10 is just a board breaker. Black Ledger Soldier, the Link monster. So this isn't something you have to craft. You can, if you want, you can just buy the structure deck, this one here, for 500 gems. Then you can get access to the Black Ledger Soldier. This is an okay Link monster. It has some uses in Modern, but like in the Exodia, for example, funnily enough. But you're always making this with a level 7 or higher monster because you have access to Block Dragon. So this Black Ledger Soldier will always be indestructible and untargetable. So yeah, you can have like just something like Herald Arclight plus Black Ledger Soldier, or Black Ledger Soldier plus Tri-Gate, or like any combination of these two is like a pretty decent end board with like a Gallant Granite searching a Nibiru on top, with like a giant hand and a Taka Crusader attached to the giant hand. Also is sort of a disruption because you can negate an effect and then you can book the monster too. So it's like a sort of a solemn. It's like a weird ass solemn where you're negating a monster and then booking the monster face down. At which point, that's basically just like getting rid of it, because like they can't do anything with a book monster that's also negated as well. So yeah, then the Proxy Dragon Nightmare Cerberus. Nightmare Cerberus is like Earth, so it's a board breaker, but also facilitates the co-link with Tri-Gate Wizard. Same with the Reaper Docus. Alsa, you're not summoning anything off Alsa, but you can just crash Alsa, and Alsa can search literally one of your Vernizel names. It can search a Seeker, for example. It can search I wish it could search Block Dragon. It cannot search Block Dragon, but yeah, it has a number of options you can search with Alsa just by crashing it. And Ningirsu is just like removal, and Jeagle and Dignified, whatever the hell this is, surprisingly it does not require Cyrus monsters for its effect to work. So yeah, this is like for damage calculation, you can send Earth monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then your opponent's monster loses 200 attack and has its effect negated, and also it's negation prevention, like against targeting, or it's a target protection for your link monsters. Which this actually, you probably should never make this. This is just like a meme. But yeah, the other 14 cards, pretty decent options, budget options. And again, if you own any of these URs, this deck gets significantly better too. But just baseline, just because you're also not going to be playing against Blue Eyes, you can get away with a lot more shit. So this deck, I think, it's a very decent and a fun budget option. So next we have Salamangreat, which I'm sure some people might have seen coming, and I'm not sure that this deck is going to be as good versus Blue Eyes as the Marincess deck I showed earlier was, mainly because of the Dawn engine space and the budget, like the hand traps options and all that stuff. Because while the Dark and Water group doesn't have access to like a variety of hand traps, the specific hand traps that are legal can be very targeted towards Blue Eyes, let's say. Meanwhile here, if you're assuming we're on a budget, we're not playing Dominus Impulse, so without Impulse and with just one Imperm and one Ash, you know, it looks a little sketch. That being said, if you have triple Ash and triple Imperm, it looks a lot better. So most people, even if you don't have a Salad deck, you probably have 3 Ash and 3 Imperm, so go ahead and put in the 3 Ash and 3 Imperm in here. That being said, even with the 1 Ash, you can search the Ash with Salamangreat Horse Prince by summoning Ash and adding it back to your hand with Sunlight Bolt. So you can't always get Ash on your end board too. Anyways, it's just, you know, for going sec, you would prefer hard drawing Ash. But yeah, this looks a lot better if you have Imperm and Ash at 3, which I think most of you do. And if you have Dominus Impulse as well, I consider running Dominus Impulse too, because again, it's the same thing with the Marincess deck. We have the Typhoon as well here as a Typhoon to try and hit the Blue Eyes decks, and then Typhoon also synergizes with Dominus Impulse being trap card. There's that. There's also one hand trap that I missed, which was Ghost Mourner. Now, most people don't have 3 copies of Ghost Mourner, so I'm not expecting you to. But if you do, this is another hand trap option you can add, and like you can see that if you own all the expensive UR hand traps, that this deck gets a lot better. If you own all those generic cards, if you don't, it's fine. We have like the cheap replacements with Twin Twisters plus Typhoon to at least try and get a chance versus Blue Eyes, and obviously Droll is still Droll. Droll is still fine. And this deck is significantly improved by having just a couple URs. So one, the most common, like obviously the most common UR is Promethean Princess, which if you have Promethean Princess, you obviously play it in here. Like Promethean Princess, it boosts this deck so much. If you played any fire deck at all and you have a Promethean Princess, you can just slot it in like basically this is like a structured deck, Salamangreat deck, and it would improve the deck by so much. So yeah, Promethean Princess is one, and obviously the next is Raging Phoenix, which Raging Phoenix is a lot less likely that you would have this, because Raging Phoenix is only good if you have 2 of it. Like having 1 Raging Phoenix doesn't really do anything, because it only gets effective if it's, you know, relinked with itself, which you need 2 to do. But yeah, so if you're just a Snake Eyes player and you probably have Princess, if you played Snake Eyes in the past, you probably have Raging Princess, but you may not have 2 Raging Phoenix. You might have 1 Raging Phoenix, which is still okay to run, but like it doesn't do as much, nearly as much as if you had 2. But yeah, and then another option is like Pyro Phoenix. Pyro Phoenix you probably definitely don't have. If you don't have Raging Phoenix or Promethean Princess, you probably don't have Pyro Phoenix. But just keep in mind that if you have Pyro Phoenix, you can also play Code of Soul Pyro Phoenix. Or if you just have like double Pyro Phoenix, it can be used as a board breaker. But this is like the least necessary out of all the URs. I would just say Promethean Princess is like the big one. If you have the Princess, you should be fine with any, like with a Salad build that has at like any price point, just because Promethean Princess is so good. And yeah, so for the deck itself, like this is a structure deck, structure. R, structure deck, like this is super cheap. This is like you buy 3 structures, you have everything you need. Like that being said, if you want to play Salad, like if you want to play Salamangreat normally, like an actual Salamangreat deck in ranked, then I would recommend actually not holding off and not buying the Salamangreat structure deck. I would actually recommend pulling from the new pack, because the Raging Phoenixes are now in the Salamangreat selection pack in the Blazing Fortitude. So if you don't have either the structure deck or any of the high end URs, you actually get more value by like trying to pull from the pack first. That way, if you pull excess numbers like Sonic Wolf, which are also I believe in the Blazing Fortitude pack, as well as the structure deck, then you can get away with buying less copies of the structure deck, so you can even save gems there if you want. That's for people who want to like actually build Salamangreat. If you're just here for a budget video and you don't have plans on playing Salamangreat outside of events, then the structure deck will suffice. And yeah, 2 Weasel mainly because you don't have an easy way to search this because we don't have also Salamangreat a Fire. This is another one. You just need 1 of this. Most builds only play 1, but if you have a single Salamangreat a Fire, it boosts your deck by a lot because you can just summon this off the Mirage Salio and it's like 2 bodies. Whereas if you don't have this, it's fine. You just summon the Weasel instead. You lose a body, but for most part, most combos it still work decently fine. But yeah, this is another UR that would greatly boost deck if you had it. Not mandatory, but is really helpful. 1 Falco, 1 Jaguar just for extra names. Since you're not running the UR names, you have more. You want to draw more salad monsters. Likewise, Speedroid Terratop is a good salad starter. Terratop plus Tag and Tomborg, especially since if you don't run Dominance Impulse, it doesn't conflict at all. So, yeah, then you have the Twin Searchers again to hit the Blue Eyes decks. You have 1 Droplet, 1 Imperm, just because these are from the bundles. If you have more copies of Imperm, obviously you run the Imperms. 1 Rage and 1 Roar. Then the extra deck, so Horse Prince summons Ash Blossom from deck, even if you only have 1, and then you can add it back with Slime Wolf, so you can basically search Ash in your combo. Totem Bird is where if you already have combo, you can like start lead with Terratop and then make a Totem Bird, and then that plays around like Dominus Purge or whatever. Doesn't play around the Biru, so you can also play Gossiping or Gossip Shadow if you want to play around the Biru. I don't like this because it gives your opponent a draw, so like you're probably still on the back foot even if you negate something with this, but it's an option. Mirage Salio, triple Baelings, Nightmare Phoenix, triple Slime Wolf, because if you don't have the other URs, like Silent Wolf is probably the next best one, so you have the room for it. Double Helio for spell trap removal, plus also it turns all your opponent's monsters into 0 attack by having a Droll Lockbird or an Ash Blossom in your grave. And then the 3 flex spots here are Proxy F Magician, Midnight Early, and Violet Chimera. So there is an OTK you can do with this, where if you have enough bodies, since you don't have the rank 4s, so a lot of times you have extra bodies, you don't have a lot that you can convert them into. Here, with these 3, you can convert them into an OTK, where you go Pit Knight Early, and then make a Proxy F Magician to the arrow right of Pit Knight Early. You activate Proxy F Magician to fusion summon into Violet Chimera. You target one of your opponent's monsters, you make their attack 0, and then the Violet Chimera with a Salamangreat monster plus a Link monster, it gains attack equal to the fusion, and then this card's fusion summon, you can make this card gain attack equal to half the combined original attack of all the materials used for the summon. So it gains attack, and then once battled during damage calculation, if this card battles a monster whose attack is different from its original attack, you can double this card's attack during damage calculation only. So if you can basically, for example, fuse a Baelings plus a Helio that's like 2800 that's 2800 attack, so then the Violet Chimera will go up to 5600 attack, and then, or you don't even need a Helio really, just Baelings plus any Salamangreat monster. So Baelings plus like a Gazelle, for example, would give you about 2k attack, so this card will go up to, Violet Chimera will go up to 48, and then because Pit Knight Early effect trigger, it turns your opponent's monster into 0 attack, so then therefore because your opponent's monster's attack is different from its original attack, the battle damage gets doubled, so then this Violet Chimera would do 9600 damage, which is an OTK. So you only need to have this card gain 1200 attack. Or sorry, half the original attack. My bad. Oh, holy shit, math is hard. Okay, yeah. So you need to just have like 2400 total attack between the Link monsters and the Salamangreat monster used for this card's fusion material, which is still not that difficult. Like for example, a Jack Jaguar plus a Silent Wolf will do the trick. Silent Wolf plus pretty much any Salad monster will also do the trick. That will let you OTK from 8k off of Violet Chimera, thanks to the Pin Knight early turning their monster attack into 0 plus the double damage off the Violet Chimera. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. It's a cute OTK you can do. You know, it's something that I thought I'd like share, because I think not everyone knows about this, and like you don't play this anymore in Constructed Salad because you have better things to do. But in a budget salad build, this is a nice OTK build, especially OTK. This is a nice OTK line, especially since we don't have stuff like Update Jammer or Axis because we're in the Fire Wind group. But yeah, this is it's just budget salad. I think I talked way too long about a fucking Salamangreat deck. Like there's really not much to say about this. I think most people have a general idea of what this deck does by now. So yeah, if you were struggling to find a deck to play for this event, hopefully this video helped you out by giving you some examples of budget decks you can build for very little resources, or loaner decks to play for no resources, and which loaner decks to play and which loaner decks to avoid. Which, if you saw this video, you should probably know which loaners to avoid. But yeah, of course, let me know in the comments any more budget decks that you guys think are viable. If you're struggling, if you don't want to play one of those decks I showed here, go check in the comments. I'm sure there will be more examples that people will bring up of more budget decks you can play. And obviously, if budget is not your concern, go check out the other video I did showing the strongest decks that you can play for this event. Blue Eyes is one of them, but that aren't just Blue Eyes. So yeah, good luck with this event. It's gonna start in about a day. So yeah, let's have fun with this.